With Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out next year, it's only right to refresh everyone on the amazing, intricate story of Grand Theft Auto 5, aka GTA 5. GTA 5 was developed by Rockstar Games, with Grand Theft Auto 5 being their 15th Grand Theft Auto release, and that's including expansion packs. If you haven't played this game, you most definitely should give it a try. But you probably have, since it's the third highest selling game of all time with over 200 million copies sold, and Grand Theft Auto 5 has been a top selling game every single month since its release 10 years ago. I will be skipping over some story details and missions that don't correlate to the overall story of the game. Grand Theft Auto starts off in 2004 in North Yankton, where a group of bank robbers, Trevor Phillips, Michael Townley, Brad Snyder, an unnamed getaway driver, and the remote contact Lester Crest. The bank robbery goes south after Trevor kills a security guard, and during their escape with the stolen cash, the getaway driver is killed. The trio now attempt to escape on foot but are ambushed by law enforcement. Michael is shot, Brad is shot and killed, and Trevor escapes on foot. Right after this, a funeral of Michael takes place, but Michael is watching from a distance, showing that Michael faked his own death during the robbery. The game flash forwards to present day 2013, with Michael Townley in a therapy session living in Los Santos, taking the new identity of Michael DeSanta. Michael lives with his two kids, Tracy and Jimmy, and his wife Amanda, but is depressed and unhappy with his current day-to-day life. After Michael's therapy session, the game is played through the perspective of Franklin Clinton, who is with his childhood friend Lamar Davis, who are both gang members of the Forum Gangsters, but also work for a car salesman, Simeon Yetarian, who steals cars for his shop and repossesses cars that were already sold after sketchy payment plans with the help of Franklin and Lamar. Franklin is sent by Simeon to repossess a car from Jimmy, Michael's son. Franklin sneaks into Michael's house and steals the car, but is caught by Michael and held at gunpoint, forcing him to drive the car into Simeon's shop. Michael gives Franklin some cash, offers him a friendship, and beats up Simeon. Back to Franklin working the streets while living at his aunt's house. He is fed up with the gang life and wants more for himself, so he visits Michael in hopes of finding more opportunity for himself. During their conversation, Michael gets a phone call from Jimmy telling him that someone's trying to steal the boat and he's still on it. They both go and attempt to rescue Jimmy and take back the boat. After a long chase, Franklin saves Jimmy, but their car breaks down and the boat is lost. Michael takes a cab home, and Jimmy and Franklin create a relationship and exchange numbers. Back to Michael now. He returns to his house and finds his wife having an affair with her tennis coach. Franklin, who shows up to Michael's house at the same time this is occurring, helps Michael chase down the tennis coach and find him camped out at a house on the hills. With the use of Michael's truck, they destroy the house and make their way back. Back at the house, Michael and Franklin are confronted by drug lord Martin Madrazo, who tell them that was his house and they owe him a lot of money to cover the damages. Michael recruits Franklin for the job to pay back Martin and finds his old contact Lester Crest, a hacker who helped Michael and his old crew with heists back in the day. They scope out the Vinewood jewelry store they plan to rob, along with extra crew members, and proceed to successfully rob the store. They pay off Madrazo, celebrate, and decide to lay low for a while. The game then switches to Sandy Shore in the perspective of Trevor Phillips. Trevor is home having an affair with the girlfriend of Johnny Klebitz, who is the main character in the Grand Theft Auto 4 expansion, Lost and Damned. The TV is on in the background, and Trevor hears about the bank robbery and a security guard telling the news reporter that one of the robbers told the guard,
You forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them.
And Trevor realizes that this has to be Michael, given that he said the same thing when Trevor shot and killed the security guard in 2004.
I saw your face, I'll remember you.
You forget 1,000 things every day. How about you make sure this is one of them?
Trevor has been convinced for years that Michael died during that heist, so he's confused. Michael kills Johnny and tells his associate Floyd to search for anyone named Michael Townley in Los Santos. Trevor kills majority of the Los MC after informing them that he has killed Johnny, defends his lab from rival gangs who have it out for Trevor due to his relentless killing sprees, and takes down rival cooks the O'Neills. Learning a lot about Trevor in the missions while Michael and Franklin are laying low, he runs a small drug empire with nothing but enemies on his tail. Floyd informs Trevor that he has found someone in Los Santos by the name of Michael DeSanta who fits the description, so Trevor makes his way to Los Santos. Switching to Michael's perspective, a family fight is occurring in the DeSanta household when Trevor walks in, leaving everyone in shock. When Trevor notices Tracy isn't present, Jimmy informs him that she is auditioning for the Fame or Shame event, and Trevor and Michael head over there to stop Tracy. They argue about what happened in 2004, but Michael does not reveal to Trevor what really happened during that heist by constantly changing the topic when it comes up. They save Tracy from the Fame or Shame host, and the mission ends with Michael calling Dave, telling him that we need to talk. We begin to learn the true story of Michael, Michael tells Dave Trevor is alive and back. Dave, who is the one who helped Michael be set up financially and change his identity as the two work together on the North Yankton heist and faking Michael's death. The original plan for the 2004 heist was to kill Trevor, but instead Brad was killed, who was then buried in Michael's grave at his fake funeral. Trevor was then led to believe that Brad has been in prison for all these years, with Dave sending fake letters to Trevor, acting as if Brad was sending them from prison. Dave tells Michael he knows it was him who robbed the jewelry store, and instead of charging him, he asks him for a favor to sneak into a morgue and search for a man by the name of Ferdinand Karamov, who has information on Dave that could get him in trouble. The International Affairs Agency, aka the IAA, have declared him dead, but the FIB do not believe it. In the morgue, Michael finds a body with Ferdinand's tag, but it's clearly not him and it's a woman, so he informs Dave about it. Michael escapes and then meets up with Franklin, telling him to leave town because the FIB will now be on his tail. Franklin decides to stay and help Michael. Michael meets Dave outside the FIB headquarters, who is sitting with Steve Haynes and Agent Sanchez. With Michael robbing the jewelry store, he broke the original deal of Michael's change of identity. Haynes tasks Michael into capturing Ferdinand with blackmail after they find out where the IAA are holding him. Michael asks to bring along Franklin and Lester, and Dave informs him that he has also brought along Trevor, so the three protagonists group together for a capture mission. Franklin now attempts to live an elevated life, attempting to perform a big drug deal with Lamar and Trevor, which goes south, then performing hitman missions with the help of Lester, which allows him to purchase a house. Trevor, who is also attempting to elevate his lifestyle and expand his drug operation, he plans to steal an experimental weapon from the government security Mayweather. He recruits Michael and Franklin and performs the heist and steals the weapon until Lester arrives and tells him that this is a super weapon, and stealing them will putting them all on a kill list. With Michael returning to the crime life, his family decides to leave him, making him pursue the crime life even further, along with entering the movie industry as a producer. Continuing the story, the trio again is tasked with another FIB mission, and that is to steal funds from the IAA for them to use and continue to bribe other corrupt government officials. After the well-executed heist, the team stop the IAA armored truck holding the cash, steal it, and fight their way through law enforcement. Michael takes the cash and brings it to Devin Weston's house, who is a FIB associate. Devin gives Michael jobs for Michael and Franklin to steal 5 cars for him. In exchange, Michael asks for the opportunity to work with Solomon Richer, who is a movie producer, allowing Michael to produce his first movie. After a series of operations, the team steals 5 high-class cars for Devin over a series of missions, and during this, Martin Madrazo calls Michael and Trevor for a favor, and that is to kill Martin's cousin because he believes that he will testify against him in court. The duo successfully find and kill his cousin, taking the leverage against Martin with them. Switching back to Michael at the end of this mission, Trevor calls him, informing him that there has been a change of plans, and they meet up, and Trevor tells him that they got into an argument with Martin over payment, and Trevor kidnapped his wife Patricia. The duo decide to lay low for a while because of this, and the game switches over to Franklin, who continues to steal cars for Devin. Michael and Trevor, who are held up in Trevor's meth lab, argue about their lives, and Steve and Dave walk in telling them they need to investigate a research lab which is making nerve gas but have a funding issue and need to come up with the funds. Michael has no choice and calls Lester, asking for a job to get the money they need. Lester tells them about the Polito Bay Bank and that it could be robbed to pay off debt to the FIB. The team get a crew and successfully rob the bank and escape, giving the FIB the funds they need, and the team part ways once again. Michael and Trevor, still laying low, get info from Ron about a train holding gold and other valuables that create a small heist to pay the crew. After the train raid, they find an ancient artifact and decide to send it to Martin as a peace offering, in which he accepts, but only if his wife Patricia is returned to him. Patricia is returned with Trevor yelling at Martin to take care of her as he has fallen in love with her. Now that the FIB have their funds, Michael, Haynes, and Dave get in scuba suits and break into the humane labs where the nerve gas is being made. They take the gas, fight their way through security, and with the help of Trevor, escape with the cargo being carried with a helicopter. Now Trevor has the idea to rob the biggest bank in Los Santos, allowing them to have enough money to set them free. Along with the glory of completing such a big job, they begin to scope out and plan a heist on the bank. During this plan, Trevor shows up to Michael's to hang out, and Trevor brings up breaking Brad out of prison. Michael does a poor job at lying, which makes Trevor realize that Brad might be dead and yells, and Michael storms out the house, making his way to North Yankton. Michael follows him and finds him at his own grave, where Trevor digs up the body and finds it's Brad who's dead in the grave. They point guns at each other and Trevor attempts to shoot him, but his gun jams, and as this happens, an enemy of Trevor, Wei Chang, has his men arrive to attempt to kill Trevor. Trevor escapes, leaving Michael to deal with them. Michael is captured by the men, and the story switches back to Trevor, who is flying back to Sandy Shores. After this, Trevor, Franklin, and Lamar deliver all 5 cars to Devin's associate Molly after Lamar stole the last one. Molly, who was at the rendezvous point alone, tells him Devin could not arrive due to the attention he has gotten from the stolen cars, and also tells him they will be paid when the heat from Devin dies down. Lester has told Trevor the whereabouts of Michael, but Trevor doesn't want to join him on rescuing Michael, so Franklin coordinates with Lester to find him at a slaughterhouse. Franklin shoots his way in and shoots his way out with Michael and make it back to Michael's house, where he tells Franklin about what happened between him and Trevor. Now the FIB task Michael with another heist, and that is to raid the FIB headquarters and destroy all evidence that threatens Haynes and Dave's reputation. The raid is successful and they steal the hard drive with all the dirt on the corrupt FIB agents, and while this is going on, Michael deletes all information on himself. After the raid, Michael meets with Dave asking to be cut loose by the FIB, but Dave says he can't, and before he is able to explain himself, Haynes and Sanchez show up, who look to arrest Michael for the raid, but guns are drawn on each other, and before Dave can calm everyone down, IAA and FIB agents show up and surround all of them. It is revealed Sanchez was working behind their backs, and Merriweather shows up in an attack helicopter. Haynes shoots Sanchez in the head, leading to a gunfight between all groups. Haynes manages to escape, and Michael and Dave fight their way through all the groups. Trevor, who has been watching the entire time, helps save Michael. Michael and Trevor meet up to where Trevor says he cannot trust Michael, but he wants to go ahead and do the big score heist, which they proceed to do. After this, Michael comes home to an apology from Jimmy, and they both go get Amanda from her yoga instructor and Tracy from the Fame or Shame host Laszlo, and they all go to a family therapy session which goes poorly, but they all decide to come back home and live together as a family. Franklin finds out Lamar has been captured by Stretch and saves him with the help of Michael and Trevor. Michael, close to publishing his first movie, finds Devin and Molly in Solomon's office, where they say they want to pull the plug on the movie so Devin can be paid out by insurance. Solomon walks in with the tape film, which is stolen by Molly, and she runs off with it, and Michael then chases her because he doesn't want the plug to be pulled on the movie. Molly flees to the Los Santos airport and gets sucked into a jet engine. On the premiere of Michael's movie Meltdown, Devin shows up blaming him for Molly's death, with threats saying that he has his wife captive, forcing Jimmy and Michael to go home and save Amanda and Tracy. They find Merriweather agents at their house and clear them out, saving the family, and tells them to move out for a few days. The crew then proceed with the big score heist, which proceeds successfully for a payout of $201 million. Franklin, Trevor, Michael, and Lester meet up at Michael's house, where they all argue with each other before splitting up, leaving the crew on bad terms. As Franklin, you are now given the choice of A, killing Trevor, B, killing Michael, or C, keep all 3 alive and kill off the rest of the enemies each protagonist has. Choosing C, Lester creates a trap for the FIB, and Merriweather saying Franklin, Trevor, and Michael will be free to take at a foundry. The team, with the help of Lamar, take out the FIB and Merriweather mercenaries and make their way out and decide to all take out Steve Haynes, Wei Chang, Stretch, and Devin Weston, who pose threats on all 3 protagonists. All threats are eliminated, and the team meet up and agree to all be friends and go their separate ways, and the game ends. If you liked the video, leave a like. Thanks for watching. Stick around for my next video.
It's a setup, it's a setup.